Hello again, folks. We're here for more Smurf defeat videos, and today we have a particular Smurf that we defeated some 3 days ago, I think. Uh, I'll show you the Aoe2 insights of this guy, and we'll be looking at the game we just did. You know, that Smurf defeat. So the video, I'll post it right after. First, I'll put you the Aoe2 insights link of this account as usual. Wait a little bit while I put you on that on screen. It should be here. So it's this player. It's a Colombian account. That's his AoE2 Insights page. You can see it here, very clear, straightforward. And the match I played, well, you're not going to see it here because he played many matches, but you might find it through my own match history. So, for example, here, you can see that I effectively did play against this player here. You can see here, this is the match I played 4 days ago. It's clear. And that's the match that we're going to replay. We can have a very quick look at APMs just in case, but APMs don't tell a lot of the story. They don't tell a lot of the story. Uh, we are going to watch what happened during the game, and for me, this guy was a potential one of these Smurf players. I don't say he was the strongest Smurf, but it was a Smurf account by the things he displayed. So, any case, let's just watch the Smurf defeat as it took place, and that's the match I suggest you to watch right now. First, I'm going to take this window away, and let's watch it from the POV of this opponent, not mine. Right, he's Vietnamese, and for those who know, Vietnamese, they do have their uh, instant vision capability of knowing where opponents' TCs are. In team games, you can know instantly the location of enemy TCs, and in case you're playing a nomad map, once your opponents build a TC, you'll know their location. And if you're playing 1v1s, well, the same applies. But in this case, I already have my TC built, so he knows my TC is on the south. So far, he's going for the sheep. Everything looks normal. I have already posted quite a few videos about these Smurf defeats, so you might check them out. They're on my YouTube YouTube page. Give them a bit of check because every time I defeat these Smurf accounts, it's one extraordinary thing, I would say. Because we can all pretend to be, 600 ELO players when in fact we are 2,500 or 2,600 in our main account. That's why I tell you, ELO doesn't tell a thing about what's going on in the game. It's more about skills and the players you're fighting. Anyway, here, uh, getting back into the game, he opts to go for sheep and only one villager on the woodline. Goes for the boar as soon as his second sheep is depleted. And he's optimizing times. He's not losing a lot of time. I already say because of this that this guy is playing by some spreadsheets. And I would say yes, he's playing by some spreadsheets because look, even his houses, they're not very far away from the place where the villagers are working. He's not making houses in this farthest corner. He's not making houses as far away as possible in a SimCity aesthetical way. No, he's making them very functionally and as close as possible to resource production areas. Here, resource production can be either wood or food. I'd say that this guy's a micro nerd already by looking at what he's doing right now. But we'll see what the Smurf does. Uses the town center to fire at the board. Everything is optimized. He doesn't want to waste any time. Except here, he has some food decay. It's not exactly perfect. You probably are noticing that the scout's line of sight is improving. I mean, he's coming around and looking at my own base. Better, yeah. He really is obsessed in building houses as close as possible to the TC. And I get it. He doesn't want idle times of 5 seconds. He wants idle times of 0 seconds. This guy is obsessed. Mill close to deer. He doesn't even want to push them. I mean, the scout is outside, so obviously you cannot call your scout who is miles away in order to do that. And he is already gather pointing or setting those points directly on each of these deer. So that's a Smurf account already. Can confirm it. You have optimized the plays for this kind of game. And by the way, I'm not sure what elo he was at the time. But this was a 900 something elo game. It was 4 days ago. It was a 970. No, I was 900. Yes, 970 something. I was 970 something elo at the time. So you would say this is a 950 to 980 elo type of game. But his play skills are not of a player in this elo vicinity. He's using a Smurf account. You can tell that this guy is playing with Smurf accounts by looking at the activity of his account here. Huge periods of inactivity, complete hibernation lasting, what, 2 years? And suddenly you have spikes on 1 or 2 months, going into hibernation again, and getting back into activity. Come on, that's an obvious Smurf account. We all know it. That that yellow curve you just saw is the 1v1 the 1v1 thing. Now don't mix it up with RM team games, you know. You can mix potatoes and pears and then you don't understand a thing, right? This is team games and this is 1v1s. It's exactly what we're watching. And if this guy is inactive for most of the time, this is a Smurf account, okay? There's no need to make big demonstrations on this. It's straightforward. Whoever tells you that that is not a clear, straightforward Smurf, that is not a Smurf account, you should like throw that person away because he's clowning you. Whenever you see an account like this with huge spikes and like gigantic periods of hibernation, you are dealing with a Smurf account. He has team games too, but you know it also shows that the fact that you're inactive for 2 years almost, and then suddenly in 1 or 2 months you go in a crazy activity spike, you're a Smurf account. He was unlucky. He lost his villager outside, Mr. Smurfo. Now he goes after it, pursuing my scout. Decides to make 2 houses outside. And I will not get tired of repeating each time I defeat a Smurf account. One, because I'm not supposed to fight players whose main account is 2,900 in 1,000 kind of elos. I should not be fighting that yet. I have been forced to fight them. I already tell that. It's not only the I wish it wouldn't happen. I already have been forced to fight them. So it already, signals a problem. And I did win occasionally some of those high elo players using their 5,000, 5,000 or 6,000 Smurf account. Doing archery range outside and going for archers and skirmishers. Oh no, he DQ'd the archers and instead made skirmishers. It's curious that he's putting his spearmen on patrol mode. That is something kind of uncommon that I see on low elos. That alone should signal you something strange. But you know, some people, even in face of all signs, they just pretend nothing happens. And that's exactly why I'm making the Smurf defeat videos. Because otherwise, these games would be lost in time. After 2 or 3 weeks, after me winning these guys live on stream, some people just say, "Hey, but what game? Oh, that was three weeks ago. Oh, I forgot. But you played those games. What game?" And that's the way to prove that these games happened, and they happened at that specific time. In that case, 4 days ago, as you did witness here. See, 4 days ago, it happened like that, as I'm recording this video. He even sends my spear to the wolf. What an amazing thing. By the play of what he's doing, I would say he would be going for a fast castle. But as he's also doing skirmishers, I don't know if he wants to really go fast castle or he's going to delay his uptime a little bit. Vietnamese archers have stronger HPs. They're here, you know, plus 20% HPs. They have a greater life. It means that in case of the Turks, you know, I can use skirmishers, sure, by feudal age or archers. The problem is that once I go into castle age, I cannot do elite skirmishers, so I'm forced to keep working with skirmishers. And as for archers, well, I can definitely make a transition to crossbows, but it's just that my archers don't have that extra HP. I went for men-at-arms, as you can see here. Men-at-arms are kind of okay against the skirmishers, because the counters for skirmishers is scouts. I mean, the skirmishers are good against archers, but they're not necessarily good against individual men-at-arms. A bit of a skirmish here. I kill a villager too, that's not bad. Problem is that these archers are tanky, and now he's starting to have a massive troops, which becomes a little bit annoying for me to fight. He's strong here. And I'm forced to do scouts, that is the problem. I think he went for a fast castle. My food economy was depleted, but again, he started to farm much earlier than me. And I was having problems. 34 vills versus 37. Guys, this guy had more vills than me already and a huge amount of food. This would not look well for me. The Smurf micro nerd already was having a huge advantage. I was struggling behind. I don't think I lost any villager. Maybe I did here. But in any case, look, 35 vills compared to 37. And he was the guy who went first to castle. I mean, I don't know. It feels like he really was playing with such a high efficiency. As for me, I decided to invest in feudal wars because I thought, well, if he's doing a lot of feudal units here and skirmishers, his uptime is probably going to be delayed. That's what I thought. And it's very reasonable to think that because usually in Arabia games, and I know that Arabia is not Arena and Arena is not Arabia, but in Arabia games, a player who decides to commit a lot in terms of skirmishers and or scouts in feudal age will delay his uptime to castle age. So I was thinking, oh, perhaps he's also going to delay a little bit his castle age time, and I should rather play feudal. That was my plan. Men at arms and scouts, very much food intensive thing. But of course, I didn't know about any of his farms. That was the problem. Anyway, let's see how this went. This game has a very long history, I tell you. Goes for early mining, and it's curious that he goes for outside mining. It doesn't even go for his own inside mines. This is such a high-level nerd play. Well, he's greedy in one thing. He didn't have, well, he didn't have fletching, but he also didn't have loom, and that's how I was able to get one of his villas. Perhaps because I also researched loom, not that made it not possible to have more villagers. So with that, he can have that +1 villager, but eventually I killed that extra villager right now. So I think it was due to loom not being researched. The guy was greedy. He wanted to go fast castle. That shows off. No loom, and he suffered here is a second villager casualty. Thinking about more things that he was doing. Well, there is not much right now. Perhaps that he was expecting to mass either more archer units or skirmishers, and he would be taking the stone. But it really is curious that he's not mining any of his inner gold or inner stone. And you know why he does that? He doesn't do it by accident. It's a deliberate choice. I think he wants to keep these as reserves, and that signals that display knows exactly what he's doing. He's probably building by some spreadsheet. He's going on the outside resources and then only then on the inside ones. That's kind of far-fetched. Another way to spot that this player is not using a real elo. He's using a fake clone account. Walls around, he wants to protect his gold miners. And all these miners for stone. Well, that for me signals he wants to commit to a castle drop. You don't go 8 villagers stone mining before Castle Age by accident. That's in Arena. This is a clear signature for a guy who wants to castle drop. And here come my attack. I didn't know that he was going to go fast castle, but you know, at least I made an attack here. Look at the micro this nerd already demonstrated. A 900 elo play, and he's already playing like one of these crazy pro micros. Another way to prove that this guy was smurfing. Again, Vietnamese archers bonus is having its effect. They have +20 HPs, and that obviously has a significant effect. Now he thinks that he has destroyed all my military, and I think he's confident to go south. He'll go for a castle drop. Siege. It kind of made sense because if I have my men-at-arms and archers, and I don't have a lot of horses, not many scouts, going for siege would be a good option. What is he doing? There's a tower. So after all, I did thought about something, and this tower was more defensive than anything. I thought if he was going to go Castle Age, and he's already Castle Age, and I saw so many stone miners, it would be a good idea to have some sort of forward protection. Exactly. You see, in the absence of this tower, I would have a castle drop right into my face here. You would put a castle exactly where the tower is located, and with a castle near my castle walls, near my with a excuse me if I have these lapses, but you know, there's a long story as to why I have this, and it's regarding the fact that I'm not respected where I live. Um, so as I was saying, this guy is going to make a castle. It's a castle drop, but he would not be making his castle near the stone mining areas because there's a tower already. That means that the initial would-be castle placement foundation has been denied. And don't tell me that you would not be placing this here. Again, another interruption. Um, because he would certainly do a castle in the place where this tower is located. I mean, you don't need rocket science to know that. Every player wants to castle drop, wants to make his castle as close as possible to the enemy's fortress. I call fortress like this area with stone walls. But since there is a tower, and of course this opponent knows there is a tower here, he cannot place the castle foundation where the tower is located, so he has to place it in a different place. He's forced to place it backwards. And I tell you that having this castle a little bit backwards is to my advantage. This is something very important for me because otherwise, not only I would lose access to this area, and I would be in trouble. Like he could infiltrate all this through all this place, and I would have no time to defend myself. Well, let's see how this played out. That was so bad. He already had crossbows with Bodkin arrow. The Smurfo had his spreadsheet already done, and under these conditions, it would just not be possible for me to deny the castle drop. I mean, just one or two crossbows, that's one thing. But these are Vietnamese crossbows. They're tankier than usual. They already have fletching. They're supported by spears with forging. The villagers are about to be loomed. I mean, I don't see a way for me to stop this. I don't have the time to make any sort of defensive military because I already lost it here. And I did well to engage him early because otherwise it would have been worse. If I had waited that time and not engaged, perhaps I would mass a little bit more troops. He would still overpower me with his castle units. So I think the early engagement still was good for me. Anyway, he was about to make his castle, and simply there would be no way for me to deny it. Now the villagers were loomed. What would I do? I tried to kill those vills, but it's not possible. The archers are sniping each of my units. It's terrible. It's horrible. The guy has everything scripted. This Smurfo had everything established. The crossbows for my potential feudal army. He also has mangonel. I think he feels on top of the world here. And I didn't have fletching, unfortunately. It was impossible. I mean, this was a massive drop. Oh, a second tower. So I decided a different approach. Instead of, I don't know, repairing this tower or trying to stop this castle, I made a backward tower here. And you know what I would do it? Because if I would not do this, he would still do a castle here. And I think he wanted to do a castle here. You just don't want to destroy the tower by accident. He cleansed that place, and he really wants to zoom for a second castle drop. Everything from this Smurfo is like millimetrically guided towards this second castle drop. He wants to accelerate his clutch and make a castle here as fast as possible. He's racing. He's not a marathon. He's just sprinting. He thinks that by making a vicious castle drop here, I will quit the game. He even has some rams here, probably thinking that he's about to storm my base super fast. I'm castle age by now. He sees that I have siege, I also have tower. And curiously he goes back. There is a ram. Oh! Goes back. Instantly goes back. As soon as he sees my castle, boom, goes back the ram. What this Smurfo nerd needs to really run away as soon as it's not convenient. Okay, then I need to go back as soon as possible. A 900 elo player doing this? Not today, not in a million years. A real 900 elo player would not do this. Or a guy starting to learn Aoe2. This is obviously a Smurf account. There were so many individual things that we pinpointed about the Smurf account. Becomes clown and ridiculous to state it is not a Smurf account by the stage. And we know that we have these ridiculous people in Aoe2. You don't need to do a lot of rocket science to know that. Goes for relics, monastery as close as possible to relics to facilitate the pickings. Again, the guy is racing, and he's about to have 650 stone. Look at this. Oh, he lost Vils, this Mr. Efficiency. Oh, lost another Vil Smurfo. Tried to snipe my mango. And now this here, another of these things. There's a tower. He has to be careful. Willie, I think he was too impulsive by going for it. Oh, look! Wolfie is attacking. Wolfie is helping me. That's so annoying. His outpost is being denied. Oh, poor Smurfo lost more Vils. And more Vils being killed. What a super efficient nerd, right? Who wants to steamroll someone who is who has a non-Smurf account and who is playing at perhaps 1k elo because he's trying to progress. You know, probably this is the script he was not expecting, right? From an aspirant player to destroy a crushing Smurf account whose main account is probably 2k or something more. Oh, and you lost another Vil. So long for your hyperspeed castle drop. You already have lost some significant Vils here. I don't think I've lost any Vils here. Eventually one, but... Oh, clicking Imperial Age at 31 minutes. Tell me which kind of normal AoE2 player non-Smurf account does this. Tell me. I would like to know on the 30 minutes mark exactly going Imperial Age. It's like the guys who go Castle Age at minute 12 in a 600 elo account. You want to prove that you're a Smurf or you want to prove that you're a Hyper Smurf. You know, each of these things are a clear giveaway that you're just manipulating the ladder system. And the only way to beat these players is you have to be better than these. Problem, these players are probably the 0.01% of top players who are playing on their 9 million Smurf account. So you will likely not have a very clear, you will not even have the slightest chance to beat these accounts. You have to be extremely good, extremely on point, with 0.0 mistakes. That's basically impossible. I understand that. Oh no, he failed a snipe here with his mangonel, and I continue to kill more of his Vils. Oh, he's not able to reach my mangonel. Mangonel war. Oh, and I also have a Janissary here. Oh, I lost a Janissary, but you lost a Mangonel. It's such a devastating loss for you. It's worse for you than it is for me. I lose a Janissary, but a Janissary is easily replaceable, whereas a Mangonel is not. That was such a bad trade for you. I almost feel sorry for you. Crocodile tears. I don't. Spoilers. It's really good to post these Smurf defeats because many of these, let's say, we have some of these hypocrites in AoE2. They would instantly say, what game after 2 or 3 weeks after me winning these guys live on stream? I don't remember you doing many streams, so there's a stream of this week, the stream of the past week. It's such a confusion. Maybe you're making this up in your mind, right? No, and that's precisely why I'm recording each of these games where I know firsthand I defeated a Smurf account. And I explained it time and time again why that was. Why this player was a Smurf account. Wow, impressive. He's doing a back monastery here. Why would you do that? Something doesn't add up. And wheelbarrow is coming only after Imperial Age. Again, sign of a spreadsheet. He's playing this because he did this time and time again. Ah, look at the preemptive hyperspeed reaction. As soon as I go Imperial Age, I went Imperial Age before he went, he was quickly transitioning all the relics he got from this monastery into this monastery here so that I would not get those relics. This Smurfo really is a clown. You know, it is a clown in himself. He really is a clown. This high level play is not typical at Loelos. Unless you're match fixing the Loelos with your Smurf accounts. Making houses with wanting to take each and every of the relics so that I would not take any of the relics. What an obsessive nerd here. What the Smurfle was really triggered. He's not clicking, he's rage clicking with his mouse. Assuming he's playing with a computer. Using my bombard cannons, I had to use my tools as Turks. This guy was on steroids. I really also had to play with all the tools I had. He has a strong massive army here, and as Imperial Age, I would think he would go Imperial Skirmishers. Who knows, maybe elephants or bombard cannons. One thing I know, and that is I destroyed one of his castles, so I finally could breathe a little bit more. Here come Janissaries. I know Janissaries are countered by this mess. I need to go back. And he has ballistics too. Soon he will be having ballistics. Microing like a nerd is crossbows. What an obsessive dude. And he's trying to take all the stone away, as much stone as he can. And transitioning to more archery ranges. I don't know if he wanted to do either skirmishers or archers. But he was lacking in wood. Though he could sell his resources, probably did that at the market. Took away an archery range so that he could continue to queue elite skirmishers, so that's a high level nerdery. I wouldn't have thought about that. I would not have thought. And I'm using my trap against this archery range and oh, against this siege workshop. Well, that is a bit far-fetched, right? I could attack this archery range, but instead I attacked the siege workshop. And the reason I did is it was Imperial Age. Let's not facilitate things. It could come with bombard cannons. It seems he was not doing a lot here. Perhaps his early spreadsheet did not work, and he realized that he would have to do something else. My troops would come from south, and he's still trying to contain this place as much as he can. Splitting his formation. This is ridiculous. Splitting in two groups. What kind of amateur is this guy? Ah, because the Smurf saw that I had my mangonels. And look at this. Look at this. A fake Elo account in the 900 Elos doing this. I've seen this in the Wololo tournaments, okay? You're doing this because you're a pro. This guy here is a pro account smurfing. And still, I'm able to get 1 or 2 hits. Not that many, though. I still hit the HPs, and scorpions are coming. One at least is here. Oh, I understood that he had ballistics as he attacked that Janissary. And the danger of this is that he has monks to heal all these archers. That's the reason why he was using the monks. He wants to regenerate all those archers so that he doesn't have to waste a lot of resources building more archers. It's one thing if I'm fighting a mass of archers whose HPs have been almost completely depleted, but to fight a mass of archers who is still strong, that's an entirely different story. Though I didn't know anything about those monks. All I wanted was buying myself some time, and I was buying myself some time. Food was important for me. I know I could do hussars, but hussars alone would be problematic against Vietnamese arbalesters. I would still need something. I would need a better economy, and that's exactly what I was trying to do. I needed to boom as well in order to get myself a better economy, and it would be important that I would start getting more gold. Bombard cannons would be good, of course, they would be necessary, but I would also need something else. The risk of this game is that as it would prolong itself too long on time, Vietnamese could get the advantage. So I also had to strike him at the right time. Of course, in the beginning I had that breathing room. I took away his early castle drop. So that allowed a sort of buffer zone for me. But that would not be enough. Because now with Imperial Age, Vietnamese sort of get a good echo buffer. And with the Imperial Skirmisher, it's a good trade unit value. You can start spamming many of these. I don't have elite skirmishers, and certainly not elite skirmishers. So to fight these elite skirmishers, I could use either cavaliers, hussars, and eventually a combination of siege units. I understood that these are just too many. Even if I used 20 hussars, that would still not be enough to face all these elite skirmishers. I would need something more. A combination with some siege units, maybe janissaries in between because they have good attack. I know that their janissaries are countered by archers, but if the janissaries are not being fired upon, you know, if these the elite skirmishers are firing at some hussars, while my let's say my gunpowder units are attacking his imperial skirmishers, I would be fine. Hussars would be sort of meat shield, but it doesn't work, you know. I understanding that hussars alone will not work. I'm trying to use a combination with siege, bombard cannons doing their work, boom, boom, boom. This was not good for him. Now he tries to snipe my cannons, but I also have mangonels here to protect my bombard cannons. That's far-fetched for him. He cannot split his troops. He has to go back. Smurf got a bad surprise. A taste of his own medicine. Boom! And Smurf lost more skirms. He's forced to retreat with his villagers. Again, his micro is insane. For someone who is 900 elo, what a fucking... What a hypocrite. What an imposter. Still killed a few, but now, what will he do? He's forced to retreat back to his base. I would say it was not looking bad for me at this stage because I kept my siege units, my bombard cannons were here, I had elite janissaries. The elite janissaries are protecting the bombard units and the siege units as well. But now he also has siege. Eventually he will snipe my mangonels and I have to go back. This is a problem because now he has a bombard cannon, and if I lose my mangonels, I'm basically dead. Fortunately, it didn't happen. I was able to safely retreat with my siege units, but now he's queuing more bombard cannons. And you see elephants also coming on the way. I need to act fast. I needed to act fast at the time, otherwise big trouble would come. Also trying to snipe each of my mangonels. And fortunately, my Janissaries clean all these gunpowder threats that we're approaching. He lost 2 bombard cannons. That was not a good engagement for him. Now I have to retreat. And here, going for stables. You see, had I decided to stay at bay for 5 or 10 more minutes, it would be my death. Because then he would switch into battle elephants, and that would be game over for me. I don't have good pikemen. I don't have halbards. My camels, yes, they could do something, but these are Vietnamese Vietnamese elephants. They're strong. I think he would be trying to use his elephants against my cannons. Vulnerabilities, well, I had here my mangonel that was relatively weak, though my elite janissaries were sort of guarding the place. What a mess, what a confusion. And no scorpions. A lot of bombard cannons, yes, a few hussars, but still it's not enough for me to try to gain any advantage, and my siege units, well, I'm having a few heavy scorpions, though it's not a lot at the moment. I would need something else. He's going with monks, probably to heal his remaining troops. He decides to attack my bombard cannons, but my bombard cannons that snipe his elite skirmishers before. Now he lost all his mass, he's forced to retreat, and hussars charge. This was a good engagement for me. It still didn't mean I would be safe, because he had so many stables already on that place, and I tell you, God knows what would happen if I would not have came on the right side soon. He would lose this army. This would be a good fight for me. Hussars are as good as knights, at least with the upgrades that I made. And again, I'm able to secure now a better position here. Finally, I can kind of claim this place. But I witnessed that he was doing buildings on the right side. So instead of going to his base, which I would normally do, I decided to invest on the right side. Yes, that's when I was aware that he had buildings here. I will instantly switch to the right side. You know, you just cannot leave all this building area unsupervised. It would be my death if that would happen. Though there's a catch with that. If I attack this base here, this would give him a little bit more time to fortify or build something. And he's switching into archers. You see that? He's making archery ranges, crossbows. So he would definitely be having time to do something. In normal circumstances, I would go with the bombard cannon here and boom boom, slashing everything. I know hussars are countered by pikes, but I have so many of them that I can literally start to kill these pikes. As he doesn't have a sufficient number of pikes massed, my bombard cannons are destroying those buildings before they can start a significant number of military units out. Prevent these archery ranges from working was of the essence. And my cannons are quickly destroying these buildings. That was the point. Arbalesters, you see, he wants to switch into a full archer composition. And that will be his resisting army at this stage. It's already 55 minutes. What a complete change in this game, right? From a guy who hyperspeed into Castle Age and an even faster castle drop. And then his relic push back. He had to make a second defensive monastery so he could transition the relics from his forward monastery, who was subjected to attacks or would be soon destroyed, into the second reserve monastery. That was far-fetched. Doing a bit of damage here. You know, as I hit this, or I was about to finish this, I would want to attack his base. I didn't want to give him that much time. He's Vietnamese, and as he took the relics, he still would be having that extra goal. So for me, it would be important to try to take the guy down as quickly as possible. I wasn't a lot worried here, but then I will notice that he's using arbalesters, and I'll have to change. Uh-oh, that was a problem. He caught me by surprise. I was literally ambushed, and I don't have a lot of siege units here. I don't have scorpions, rendering all my bombard cannons very vulnerable. That was a problem. I also don't have meat shield units. He's going to do damage. I tried to attack one thing at a time, but his micro becomes a little bit impossible for me. Miraculously, I'm still able to protect a few of my cannons. It could have been a massacre of bombard cannons. Fortunately, I was able to defend this place well. I recalled a few hussars back from the south. They would be sort of my meat shield, and the janissaries are now assisting. So now these arbalesters are not going to do any sort of conventional damage into my bombard cannons, and these bombard cannons, they continue to do their work. 14 range. Again, I used all my artillery tools against this archer nerfed civ. Not nerf, an archer specialized civ. And always microing his arbalesters so that he would not take the damage from my bombard cannon balls. Those cannonballs are obviously very strong, but they will only deal the best damage if those archers remain static in those positions. These ones did remain, that's how I managed to kill them, but those ones, not that much. Next plan would be I would destroy this town center and eventually kill these arbalesters. But this guy would go into a crazy defensive mode. You know, when Smurfs do not get their way, many of these salty Smurfs, they just rattle to the corner. They will play until the last vil. They will maximize their APMs. They will just grieve and grieve and grieve and make sure that you have the hardest possible sweat win, kind of. Which is fine because I was also ready about that. If we're queuing on the ladder, we know we're facing these individuals. Going for scorpions, now that was interesting, but he would not be able to mass any of those. Instantly realized he was doing a castle on the left side, and archery ranges, archery ranges, archery ranges. The guy would be planning on some crazy archery range defense. Also witness one thing. 4 relics at this monastery. I didn't have any relic at all, I think. He collected 4 relics. Yeah, sneeze. He had 4 relics, all collected at this monastery. Like, so deep back into his base, he would constantly be getting a source of gold, even if he would not be gold mining. And for me, that would mean if you don't hit his base fast, he's just going to come with a swarm of arbalesters and you're dead. Because he can get wood safely enough with this kind of build-up. The gold comes from his... he can also sell his things at the market. Does he have a market here? I'm not sure if he still has a market because I think I destroyed his buildings. No, he doesn't have any market anymore. I destroyed his market. Ah, well, probably then he would have to make a market in case he would want to sell stuff. And, well, he also, I think, he could get gold from the unique tech from the Vietnamese if he had researched that. I'm not sure if he researched it. Paper money. No, he didn't. That would generate a little bit of gold in addition to wood, so basically as lumberjacks would be working on the wood line, they would generate a little bit more of gold. It's a bit like extra relic gold. Losing his monks, which was fine for me. I understood his plan here. It was to mass a death ball of archers as he was piling up his resistance. So that meant that I had to strike him faster. I had to make sure that he could not pile those archers. And one way to do it would be to kill these archers as they would be coming out. And also get this castle down. because that castle would be providing, you know, it protects, it shields this wood line. I would have to attack this castle first. He's forced to attack because he knows that the castle is the critical position to defend, but my bombard cannons are doing work. Hussars are also doing their work. He has to be careful. Bombard cannons are not firing at the same time. He cannot micro it simply like that. Yes, he can micro one place or another, but it's insane the level of micro this crazy Smurf is doing. It's literally insane. Just a few lucky shots and poof, poof, he completely flatlines my army. Do you understand why this is a problem, fighting big Smurfs on the ladder? 2,000 something accounts to come here in a 900 something elo play situation? That's exactly for this. But the thing is that, in spite of that, in spite of this guy having all the tools, he will still lose the game. All I did is, well, I have to go back, retreating my traps, he's repairing the castle. Everything looks fine for this guy, right? Nothing seems to work of what I've been using. My Hussar push, bombard cannons, mangonels, nothing seems to work. But there is something I might add. Microing. Look me at this crazy nerd, my god. Splitting units. I really got the guy on fire. Whoever was this pro, it was a very high level pro. Splitting into 4 different groups. What is this, my god? What nerdery is this? But uh-oh. Scorpions come, and they're heavy scorpions. They also have ballistics. What are you going to do with your micro nerdery? Ah, now you're a clown, you're retreating. And you know it's not going to work with that. Your micro dies in face of my scorpions. You know I'm making emergency siege workshops because you want to do either bombard cannons yourself or onagers or something like that. Well, I'm not sure it would be on time right now because I have all my other troops. Slowly killing everything, and I continue to advance into his base. I come with bombard cannons and with scorpions. This is not going to go well for you. You're losing your archers. Your death ball of archers is disappearing, and my hussars are now helping. Everything is being aligned with the stars. Yes, of course, I might lose a few of them. I mean, hussars are meat shield after all. Boom, 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 you lose more arbalesters. Was that a good fight for you? I don't think so. Because my hussars only cost food. In Trash Wars, I would still have the advantage. Problem is that he's going to do bombard cannons. So, what could I do to face that? I see the problem here, and that's the castle. I need to attack this castle. And I also see that there are bombard cannons. Will I attack that bombard cannon? Of course I will. I'm going to send my hussars straight forward for it. They will die for it. There's no pike here. No, there are no pikes there. He's queuing pikes in emergency, but he already has lost his bombard cannons. And meanwhile, I can use my own bombard cannons to destroy the castle. He's not able to pile a sufficient massive archers. I have scorpions, hussars, and bombard cannons. Smurfo is dead. Smurfo is dead. He's just in denial. I was probably rage baiting at this time, and I'm going to resist until the last villager, until every single last villager. What a disaster. What an epic disaster for this blue Smurfo. Your main account might be 2,800 or I don't know what, but you still lost against a miserable 1,000 yellow player. How can you explain that? I know how you can, because technically you shouldn't even be smurfing. But no, you decided to smurf. And now you face smurf justice. It's not something I can apply all the time, of course not. But each single time I can deliver it, it's priceless. Playing until the very last unit, trying to bait me into his town center, thinking that just by having his town center arrow shooting my scorpions is going to make any difference. He thinks that, oh yeah, I'm going to use my town center with his arrow fires to kill your scorpions because you will not do anything else, right? A defensive castle here, that's so ridiculous. Just grieving until the last minute understands that it's useless at this stage. You cannot come back from this. This was just trolling. And that was a Smurf lesson from a non-Smurf player, obviously. And oh, sure, if you don't play these accounts, well, you probably are very smart, right? In the 900 elos, because I played already some 8 or 10 of these accounts in between the 800 elos and the 1000 elos. So good luck if you don't play these, because that's the bread and butter in the ladder these days, or at least the one I've been faced with. Um, it was a good game for me, obviously, and a single early mistake from me early on, either between the castle drop, the early feudal engagement, or the engagement against those arbalesters, that would have been enough. And waiting too long here as well, there were at least 5 instances, 4 or 5 instances, where a single mistake from me would have given the win from this guy. And I would say he had 4 or 5 chances to 1. Basically, he had 75% chances of winning, and that's how it is. Better if you consider that there were five places I could have done mistakes, and technically in each of those 5 places he would get the advantage. That would mean I would have a 20% win rate, and he would have an 80% one, 1/5, 20%, and that's all I needed. That's 20% probability was good enough for me. I hope you enjoyed this game, and we'll continue with more Smurf defeat videos.